Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode of Numerology Quick Takes, we're going to take a look at the forecast for the week of October 27th, 2025. Before we get into the forecast, this is a general reading. If you would like your own personal numerology reading, please book some time with me. My information's in the description box below and I'd love to work with you. So this week, we're working with a pretty intense energy, but one that can be incredibly rewarding. We're working with the vibration of the 44-8. This is a master number. This is an energy that is very much grounded in reality, that's in the very physical form, meaning because of course it's the vibration of the 8, there's a strong emphasis on all things governed by the 8, right? So power, money, status, influence, expertise, and gaining greater expertise in some area of life. Also sharing that expertise and getting it out into the world in some way. So this could be a powerful week for that if that's something that you feel ready to do, even if you don't feel ready to do it. If you are equipped to do it, this is the time to do it, to put yourself out there, to launch, to hit go, right? Now, the vibration of the 44, though, is also very in the physical plane, right? It's foundational. It's about the foundation. It's about organization, getting things right, getting things solidified, finding greater structure, creating greater security, getting to the details, right? Getting to what's needed in order to build that solid foundation. And because there's double fours, there's a lot here around wisdom. And first of all, gaining that wisdom and how we go about that, which is to move through the trials and tribulations of life, is through those challenges that we extract the wisdom, or we uncover the wisdom that we're meant to discover in this lifetime for our soul growth, for our experience. So with those double fours, where the intensity comes in this week is through some of those greater challenges that may present. And it can be, again, through some kind of physical experience. It can be through things coming up emotionally that you're being asked to move through, to heal, to rectify in some way, to address. And it's in that addressing those deeper emotions, those maybe that deeper wounding or whatever, again, may come up for you, that you'll gain that greater wisdom. It's through moving through those greater tests or challenges that may be presented to you this week that you will gain that greater wisdom. Anytime we move through a 4 cycle, and again, this is an 8 cycle, but it's accompanied by those double 4s. Anytime we move through a cycle that holds the 4 energy, it's a testing period. And the reason for that is to see where changes or modifications might need to be made, where shifts need to occur in order to build the most solid foundation for ourselves, for our communities, for, again, how we share our work, how we get our expertise out into the world. So this is about really focusing on your roots, on, again, your foundation, on the structure or the stability of what you've created or what your experience is bringing forth. And recognizing where maybe it is that you've been rushing through some area, right? Trying to get to the goal, trying to get to the finish line. And you've been missing the more important pieces, the finer details of the situation, whether it's with a relationship or with your belief system or with your emotions, with your past, whatever it may be, with your career. There's something that this week will try to get you to really focus your energy on, to slow down, to pause, but not pause to the effect where you're standing still, but pausing enough to get organized, see the finer details, see where there's maybe some disconnect or where there's faults within the foundation that need your attention. And again, because it's double 4s, it can feel like a very heavy energy, like a very grounded energy. So there's not like you might feel like you want greater freedom this week or greater movement, or you want to see things excel this week. And you might, right, depending on your personal chart and your personal experiences. This, of course, is a general reading. But with this being the overarching energy this week, it can feel like things really slow down, like there's kind of been the brakes being put on. And it's not punitive, it's to get us to focus on the details, right? Keep our focus on the bigger picture, like keep that in the periphery, but to focus really truly our energy on the finer details. What is it that we want? What is it that we need? What decisions do we need to make in order to move in that direction? And not only that, but putting in the effort to make it happen. There's a lot here about putting in the effort, about taking the steps, about getting serious, getting focused, and doing what is necessary to build that strong foundation, to build the experience that you want to have. Also, again, because we have the 8 energy that's most dominant in this cycle this week, things like career, power, status, money, influence, expertise come into focus. So it could be that you're being asked to take a closer look at the foundation of your relationship to money, your relationship to power dynamics within your life, your experience, your current career, or where you spend the majority of your time. If it doesn't feel like it's for you, and again, we're always sort of in this obviously in life, money kind of rules things in a lot of societies. And so we have to do what we have to do in order to play by those rules and, pay rent and be able to afford the things that we need to survive in this world. So when I'm talking about these things, like taking a look at your career or your job and seeing like, where do I spend the majority of my time? Where does it not feel good? Where do I need to, start to make different decisions perhaps that can help to start to move me in a different direction? It does not by any means mean like overnight, like, okay, this is not working. Let me just, uproot everything, disrupt everything in order to move towards what I think I want, especially with the energy of the double fours. It's the double fours is saying, it's time to get a plan, to get organized, to stop procrastinating, to get serious. If you don't like a situation that you're in, or again, or a job or a career or whatever, even no matter how much you've invested into it, no matter how much time, resources, energy you've invested into it, this could be a turning point this week where you start to recognize that your loyalty may have been maybe not misplaced, but is no longer serving all involved, including you. And so you might want to start to work on those fault lines that are creating the cracks within your foundation. And again, it doesn't happen overnight, especially with double fours. Again, this is a heavy rooted kind of energy. So it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take a plan. It's going to take sort of persistence in order to make it happen, in order to achieve whatever goal you've set up for yourself. And you got to keep that in mind, especially when it comes to making changes or shifts within your experience or your relationships. Understanding that that change is not going to happen in a healthy way without putting in the work, without doing, putting in the effort and taking your time in the process, not trying to skip steps, not trying to rush that process, having patience, having understanding, really kind of, again, taking things in a methodical fashion where you're doing it step by step. So in other words, if you want to quit your job, that's your goal, right? That's the goal. And the 44 says, now how are we going to achieve that? What are the steps we need to take in order to change jobs, in order to be able to quit the job, right? And you can't skip the steps, especially with double four energy. You can, but you're going to have to come back and clean it up, is basically what the 4 energy says. You can skip steps, you can run right to the finish line, but you haven't actually completed the race. You have to go back, do the steps. And so anywhere in your life that this shows up this week, that's exactly what it's saying. You can't get that quick fix. You can't get that instant gratification. And because, again, the main energy is that 8 energy, there's a strong focus on all things material. Not only that, also spiritual, but really heavy material, right? The physical plane, this 3D reality. What is it that needs that shift, that needs that change? Or where is it that you want to build upon the foundation that you've already laid? Because that's very possible. Maybe there aren't any shifts that need to be made. Maybe you've already done the work, right? You have the goal in mind. Then this 44-8 is reminding you that it's going to take time, perseverance, step-by-step mentality. It's going to take you having a plan, being persistent, and continuing to show up and put in the effort. And to not expect, to manage your expectations when it comes to your return of investment. It's going to take time. With this energy, especially anything you start at this time or anything that you start to build upon that you've already kind of built during this week, it's going to take time to reach the goal. And the goal is that 8 energy. So whether it's you want something that you've launched to be successful, whether it's you want the promotion, you want to change jobs, you want to feel more empowered, whatever it is, in whatever area of life, you will get there and you can get there. And the 44-8 promises that you will, but not without taking it step by step, having the patience, having a plan, being strategic, taking your time, and not forcing or rushing the process. Anytime we're working again with 4 energy, the rewards are always guaranteed, and they're always in direct proportion to the effort put forth. It just takes time. And the problem is a lot of times, because we live in a world full of wanting that instant gratification, everything now runs on a quickness and the instant gratification piece. But the universe doesn't work that way. Divine timing doesn't work that way. And so this is that reminder that, man-made things can work that way in things that, like the internet or whatever, and we can want that. We can want that constant hit of whatever, dopamine. But life doesn't really work that way. And this is that reminder, right? The things that you're building, and when it's 44 energy, it's a solid foundation. And so if that's what you're building, it's going to take time to not only build that, but then reach the goal that you've put out for yourself. So just kind of keep that in mind, instead of getting frustrated because things aren't working out as quickly or they're not showing you that return of investment as quickly as you would like to see it. It does not mean that it's not for you. It does not mean that it's not going to happen. It just means that it's still cooking. It takes time, right? You can't rush the baking process or the building process. If you throw something up quickly, it's not going to withstand the storms or the weather that will likely come in. You have to take your time and build it so that it's sturdy, so that it's sustainable, so that it will last the test of time. So it's a really powerful reminder of the need for patience in all areas of life, and not to rush ourselves, and have grace for ourselves and understanding for ourselves and others as well. And, to not get stuck in the frustration, to focus on what is working. And through that process, we will overcome what is not. And that it will take time, and to rush that. And it's through that process, because there will be challenges, there will be tests, right, that we'll have to overcome. But it's through overcoming those tests and those challenges that will help us to get to the goal, but will also help us to extract the greater wisdom, which is the whole goal, which is the whole point. So very, very, very powerful energy here. Now, this can be a time also because of this very grounded, heavier energy. And when I say heavy, I don't mean like negative. I just mean it's a very grounded energy. It's sort of like very like earth energy in a lot of ways. But there's this opportunity for reevaluation. Again, I kind of call it especially these double 4s, calling it more like a checkpoint type energy. You're still getting movement forward, but this is a time to check in and make sure that the direction you're moving forward in is the direction that makes the most sense, that feels right, that's most aligned, and is what you want, right? Double 4s as well as 8, very spiritual, very intuitive energies. 4 energy is bringing you back to your heart center. What feels good for you when you're leading from your heart, when you're following your heart. And that doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. And typically the things that, our goals, the things we want, the things we're working towards are the hardest to achieve, right? Because we want to do it to the best of our ability. We want it to last. And so this is just kind of that reminder. The 44-8, both of these energies, the 4 and the 8, are manifesting energies. And in order to manifest something truly, you have to first have the idea and then show up to make it happen. It doesn't happen without you. Manifestation does not happen without you. It's not asking the universe for something and then it appearing. You're playing a role in it, whatever that role may be. And the 44-8 is a strong reminder of that. You can have whatever your heart desires, but you have to build it. You have to create it. You have to achieve the wisdom that will help you to achieve the goal. And then be able to step into that goal or that destination, whatever, and do something significant with it. Because what's the point of reaching the goal if we're not doing anything with that achievement, whether that's for ourselves or for our community or whatever. So there's a lot here about recognizing, this is kind of, not to sound cliche, but this is kind of one of these weeks where it's that reminder that the beauty truly is in the journey. And when we can recognize that, then when we hit the destination or the goal, then it's really, truly worth celebrating. And we don't want to rush that process when there's so much beauty in that process, if that makes sense. So yeah, this being a master number cycle means that the stakes are higher, the requirements are higher, there's greater pressure, there's this greater push towards really getting serious and making whatever it is happen, but being refined in that process. So it can feel like there's more challenges, but those challenges will bring much greater rewards, probably in the form of, again, that greater wisdom. And then how do we use that wisdom once we've achieved it? And again, so many opportunities, so many beautiful opportunities can come up this week for you. And this is also, again, a beautiful opportunity to reevaluate your present circumstances, your present situation, whatever that might be. Again, whatever area you feel like needs some TLC, needs your attention, where there might be some fault lines within, or cracks within the foundation, this is the time to take a closer look at that. And it can be in like your belief system or your level of confidence when it comes to sharing your expertise, sharing that wisdom. Remember, we're really focused also on that 8 energy. And so that is the business-minded leader. That is the expert that's there to share the expertise, that's there to bring greater resources through that expertise. And so this week might be helping you to find that greater confidence, find that stability from within, so that you can share your greater messaging and your talents and your gifts and your wisdom or whatever, and that expertise. So I would say use this week wisely, and if you feel like things are kind of not moving or progressing as quickly as you would like them to, see it as an opportunity to reevaluate that situation, that circumstance. See, where is it that maybe something needs more fine-tuning? Something might need your attention more, right? If it's not moving forward, again, it doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means something needs your attention in order to allow it to move forward. I would also say this is a time for you to really sort of contemplate or look more closely at the value of the rewards that you're now receiving, because this can be a time where you're receiving those solid rewards. Remember, 44 energy, 4 energy, the rewards are guaranteed. So for some of you, if this is a time of reaping those rewards, seeing an increase in status or finances, especially with that 8 energy, this is a time where you could see your following increase, your clientele increase, just you seeing those rewards from your past efforts. And it's through that process also that some of your past efforts might also bring in some unwanted restricting burdens, right? You might want to sort of give up, or you might feel overwhelmed by what this cycle brings in for you at this time. And that overwhelm can make you feel like you want to just give up and sit back and do absolutely nothing. Sometimes when we feel overwhelmed by things or stuck in frustration, we can just kind of step into apathy and kind of feel like, again, that overwhelm just kind of gets us stuck to the point of not wanting to do anything at all. And so I would say, like, if you're someone who this week feels sort of discontented or like closed in or overwhelmed by, again, not seeing things move as quickly as you want to, or things not working out the way that you want, whatever, then I would say this is a time where you might need to reevaluate and possibly establish new priorities or set new goals that feel more worthwhile for you. So maybe your goal has been to climb the corporate ladder in your current job. But maybe you've been holding on to that goal for years and you're just not seeing any progress there. And so instead of saying, okay, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to stay put, whatever, and kind of giving up, this is a cycle that says, no, that's not the point. The point is to reevaluate. And if you're feeling that discontentment, or you're feeling that like point of giving up, you just need to establish new priorities. You just need to set new worthwhile goals and then start to work in that direction. Start to make decisions that will move you in that direction. Start looking for a different job. Start looking for, a place where you might be able to get that promotion. Or maybe it's going back to school or something, or taking courses that will help you to be more prepared for that promotion, whatever it might be. But this is an opportunity to take a closer look at that and see, what do I need to do in order to achieve the goals that I set for myself? And am I still going off goals that are years old that I don't even want anymore, or that aren't working and aren't worth the effort anymore? So there's a lot here to kind of look at. And when you feel that way and that frustration, sometimes we just need like a reframing. And we just need to set goals that feel more worthwhile, that we can get excited about, that we're passionate about again. So yeah, it's possible that this week could kind of show you where that missing link is, wherever, within your situation that you haven't seen, or that maybe you've been avoiding, or maybe you've been just kind of rushing through and missing. And so it can help you to, see things more clearly. And it can really offer you sort of the golden ticket, or the keys to help you to unlock some of your greater gifts, some of your greater potentials, some of your greater goals. But you're going to have to obviously show up and put in the work and take it step by step and take your time. So this is a time where you could see so many new answers coming in. Again, so much greater wisdom that helps to kind of put your world more into perspective about what it is that you need, what you want, those greater goals. And truly, again, not to sound cliche again, but the answer can only be found within yourself. And you can find that answer this week by working with this energy and being open to what it's trying to show you. The other thing here is this week, this energy, this cycle is helping to remind you that your gifts, your what you share, your wisdom, your advice, you has value. And in sharing that wisdom can help others on their own personal path of liberation, or finding their goals, or doing what, lights them up or fills their heart, type of thing. So it's not necessarily just about achieving the wisdom and then hoarding that wisdom. The 44-8 cycle helps us to unlock something, a greater understanding about ourselves, a greater understanding about our experience, our connection, our place in the world, etc. And then we're meant to use that and share that in some way, whether it's through our presence, our work, or whatever. So again, you might be feeling called this week to really dive in more deeply into something that really interests you. Maybe going back to school, getting your degree, or taking a workshop is something that's going to help you to not only gain more confidence in a particular area of your life, but to feel ready to share that greater wisdom that you've extracted. And there's going to be plenty more wisdom down the road that that we're going to achieve. But this week is helping you to tap into the wisdom that you've already achieved through this journey, and reminding you that, it serves a purpose. Sometimes just for ourselves, sometimes for our greater experience. But a lot of times it's to help us to share our gifts more authentically in a truer form that is able to have a greater impact. But a lot of times that reevaluation, saying yes to the opportunities that present, even though they might require a lot of work, that's part of the process. So yeah, very powerful week this week. And this is a great time also to, even if it's just about greater reflection and maybe getting a journal that you feel excited to write in, and kind of going through some of your greater challenges throughout your life, and kind of documenting what some of those greater challenges have taught you. What was the wisdom that you extracted from those experiences? Because there's always wisdom. There's always something to learn through our experiences, especially the difficult ones. So it's not so much about like what the other person did or what the experience, how difficult it was. It's about what did you learn from it and what wisdom did you extract from it. And now once you kind of document that, and you can kind of look back over your life and see just how, wise you are and how much wisdom you've already extracted. Now, what do you want to do with it? Like, how can you incorporate it into your experience, sharing your gifts, sharing your light? Because it will have an impact. Because not everyone can have the same experience to unlock the same wisdom. So when we move through a 44-8 cycle, which doesn't happen a lot, but when we move through it, we have an opportunity to tap into that, to remember that we are all sages. We are all full of wisdom. You can't escape this life without having a tremendous amount of wisdom from your journey through it. But sometimes we overlook it, or we just fail to see it. So I would say, again, if you feel called, this is such a great week to document it, because it's power, it's magic, it's beautiful. And even if you don't do something with it, you don't have to try to figure that out, right? Opportunities will present for you to do something with it if you're meant to, or if you're called to. But it's more about you seeing just how wise you are from this journey of life, from the experiences that you've had to overcome because you didn't have another choice. You had to figure it out. So there's a lot of magic there. There's a lot of wisdom there. And that alone, just that practice alone of recognizing how much wisdom you have from this journey, how resilient you are, how capable you are, can build your confidence like nothing else. So really beautiful energy. Please take advantage of it. Don't get stuck in the frustration. It can feel frustrating at times because, again, it's such a slower moving energy with those double fours. Work through the frustration and whatever, focus on what is working, not what, don't get stuck in what's not working, because that will work itself out. It always does. All right, I'm going to leave it there, but I hope that it's a beautiful week for you all. I think it will be. And yeah, also pay attention to things that come up around like your health, your home, like the physical structure of your home, your body. Listen to your body this week for sure. Give yourself grace. Get things checked out. If you have a leaky roof on your house, get it checked out because you don't want to let it go because it'll just create more issues in the future. So yeah, pay attention. Don't try to rush through this week. Take it slowly, be methodical, be intentional this week, and see what you learn about yourself or the experience or the world in the process. And then you can decide how you want to use that wisdom, because there will be a lot of it. Hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now.